The reviews for this new Star Wars movie have come out, and right now, last I checked on Rotten Tomatoes, I think it's got like a 58%, which is bad, rotten, according to Rotten Tomatoes. And so it's just being abysmally rated. I think it's going to end up being perhaps the worst rated, reviewed Star Wars movie yet, even worse than Phantom Menace, which was an abomination in so many ways, as most people know. But this should not be surprising. I think what we're learning here is that there's only so much story to be told. So this is what, the 9th Star Wars movie, and it's not even I'm not even counting all the other peripheral things and the offshoots and the other spin-offs and the TV shows. So there's even more than that. But just in the primary film franchise, we're now on the 9th movie, right? And if they're each about 2 hours long on average, let's say, so you're talking about 18 hours. 18 hours. Is there really 18 hours worth of story to be told based on this? You think about that first Star Wars movie, which I have to tell you, and look, this is not me. I'm honestly not trying to be contrarian when I say this. I am guilty sometimes of being contrarian, I admit, but this is not an attempt at a contrarian take. I'm telling you, if you watch that first Star Wars movie, New Hope, chronologically, at least in terms of when they were produced, the first one, although I know it's really episode 4 in the storyline. But if you watch that one, and without the nostalgic attachment, now I know that if you saw it first when you were a kid and you've grown up with Star Wars, then you're not capable of looking at these things objectively because of your nostalgic attachment to them, and I understand that. I don't begrudge you that. But I had, I guess, a strange childhood because I never saw Star Wars growing up as a kid. It just never, I had no interest in it. I could have watched it, but I wasn't interested in it. So I watched, when I was an adult, I watched Star Wars for the first time, starting with New Hope, the first one made. And it is really not a good movie. It honestly isn't. If you go in cold, you have no attachment to the movie. You're not rooting against it. You don't dislike it without, you're like, okay, let me turn on this movie. If you look at it like that, it's really not that good. The acting is bad. Mark Hamill is not a good actor, especially in that movie. Maybe he gets a little better as the series goes on, but he is not good in that movie. So it is like D-list level acting. The script is not good. The dialogue is clunky and everything. It's kind of campy and kind of fun, I guess, but it's not. My point is, it's really not a great film. And then you have to look at that and ask yourself, so based on that first movie, is there 18 hours worth of material to be mined from that? It's not that inventive. Okay, George Lucas didn't really come up he didn't invent this idea of a space opera. It's actually pretty derivative in parts. So I don't know. I think that's what we learn. That even you see all these movie franchises that go on forever and ever and ever. Even a great film. Okay, even a really, really great film, which that is complex and dense and with great characters and everything, you're probably not going to find 18 hours worth of material from it. But the first Star Wars movie isn't even that great. And it just goes on and on and on. Which is why each new Star Wars movie, it just repeats, just over and over, gets the same story repeated over and over and over and over and over again. Yeah, the special effects get a little better each time, but that's it. How many times do we have to see the same story? And what annoys me about it is that while the Star Wars universe, I don't think has enough in it to justify 18 hours of story, the Star Wars universe doesn't, but the actual universe does. What I mean is, look, if you want to make a movie, a sci-fi movie about things happening in space where it involves aliens and spaceships and adventures, I say, great, do that. That's fantastic. There's literally endless possibilities for telling stories set in space. But all of the all of our all the resources in Hollywood and everything is focused on, well, if we're going to tell a space story, it has to be Star Wars. That's what annoys me. It's like, just can we get away from the Star Wars thing? And if we have filmmakers and script writers and actors who want to do a movie about space, just let them do that. It doesn't need to be Star Wars. Can we just put that aside? Fine, we've done Star Wars, we get it, and let's just move on. There's a lot of space left in space for other stories. It's the same thing with all these Marvel movies and Avengers. It's like, if you want to tell a story about someone with supernatural powers, there's a lot you could do with that. There's a lot of really interesting stories you could tell. It doesn't have to involve Spider-Man or Iron Man. Like, we understand, we've seen those stories. We've seen everything those guys can do. We get it. Create a new character with supernatural abilities. Have him do something completely different. All right. But I know the movie will make $1 billion on its first weekend for some reason. At this point, you've seen 16 hours of Star Wars. Like, people are just itching. I gotta go see it again. I've seen this same movie 8 times already, and now I gotta go on opening weekend to watch it again one more time. I'm gonna hand my money over to Disney. They have no respect for me as a fan, as a viewer, because they're just shoving tripe into my mouth, just garbage. No respect for me. They're not even trying to make an original story. It's just reheated, it's leftovers. It's like going to a restaurant and you know that they're serving you the leftovers from the previous night, microwaved. And you go and you give them their money, and they literally shovel it into your mouth. I mean, who would do that? Yeah, this is what we do with Hollywood. I don't understand it. Hey, you. You right there. Hit the subscribe button right now. Do it right now. I thank you for your compliance. It's somewhat appreciated.